Let's switch over to Governor Glenn Youngkin. All this speculation about him, potentially being the VP pick or maybe being in the cabinet. But whatever happens, he's still got some work to do in Virginia. And a big step has just been taken here on July 1st because a lot of the Youngkin appointees are now going on to boards, and the Northam and McAuliffe appointees are cycling off of the board. So how does this impact some of the groups that you're following?
Well, this impacts every public university in the state of Virginia. Every governor gets to make appointees, and over the course of the year, of the 4-year tenure, they get to appoint all the members of the board of visitors of every university, but it's phased in over 4 years. So this is the third round of appointments, which will give Youngkin majority of his appointees, bumping the old Northam appointees. And so for the first time, again, 2.5 years into his administration, he's finally going to have his appointees in a majority position at each institution. So that's a watershed. Now, what happens at each university is going to depend upon what those appointees decide to do. And there are some institutions where we really don't get a sense that anything is really going on, that there's anyone willing to really take up a strong leadership role and push for significant change. And there are other institutions where they are. Most particularly, and you know this from people you interviewed on your show, Virginia Military Institute and the University of Virginia, both of which, not coincidentally, have very strong alumni movements backing up the conservative appointees to the boards.
Mm-hmm. Is there time to fix things if people have been not happy with the direction of some of these schools? I mean, some of it doesn't change just with the board. You've got, the daily direction of the institutions being directed by, President Jim Ryan at UVA, and a lot of traditionalists don't like what he's doing. I assume they're not going to just fire the guy.
I have no idea what is going to happen. I think it's going to depend on just how things play out politically and how people respond. It's kind of unpredictable. But you're right. At most of these institutions, you're going to have a lot of pushback, resistance to any kind of change from the administrations, the faculties, and even the student bodies. Look, Governor Youngkin has set several clear agendas that he wants for higher ed in Virginia. I think at the top of the list, he wants more affordable education. I mean, just the tuition increases have got to stop. And he's used his bargaining power with the budget to try to get them to restrain tuition increases, and that's been marginally effective. But the fact is that most of these institutions, they don't want to restrain. They want to, they're just built. They're built to spend, and there's constant mission creep, and unless there's a significant pushback from some source, they're going to keep on spending and more and raising tuition to help pay for it. The other thing the Governor Youngkin wants is he's been pushing universities to endorse free speech and intellectual diversity. Now, they all say they value those things in practice. In theory. Now, do they in practice? And he's asked them to put together plans to say this is what we plan to do to make it so people don't feel like their feelings, their opinions are suppressed, or they're reluctant to express their opinions, and also to increase the intellectual diversity, particularly in the faculty at these institutions, because like at the University of Virginia, it's 10 or 20 to 1 in terms of contributions to Democrats over contribution to Republicans. Right. So, and it's getting worse as the old generation retires. So those are the things that he's pushing for. Now, no one likes to change. These institutions, most of them, and it varies, they're not all they're not equally woke across the board, but, people are committed ideologically, and just out of sheer inertia to the way they're doing things now. And so they're going to push back. And only those institutions where someone is really forceful and dynamic on the boards is any change going to occur. We can't take that. Yeah.
That's one of the questions that I have about this. I've always heard personnel is policy, and I wonder whether Glenn Youngkin and his team have chosen people specifically for this round who are bulldogs, who will go in and go, all right, hey, let me get your attention, everybody. We're in charge now. No more Mr. Nice Guy. No more going along to get along. I got, 18 months to try to shake this up and turn the ship around, and blankety blank blank, that's what we're going to do. Glenn Youngkin would use the foul language, but you know what I'm saying? Do we know whether the people that he's sending to these schools are going to raise Cain?
Well, I can only speak with any kind of authority at the University of Virginia, and there, unfortunately, the governor passed up an opportunity to appoint a bulldog. The Jefferson Council had really been hoping a fellow by the name of Joel Gardner would be appointed to the board. Joel is obviously a UVA alumnus. He's been served on 4 different boards. He's raised money for the university. He's served on the Free Speech Committee. He knows the university inside and out far better than someone who just some random alumnus who is picked because they gave money to a politician would ever know about the institution. Joel is very passionate. He would come in guns blazing and just asking smart, intelligent, guided, pointed questions and holding the university accountable. I mean, what happens, a lot of people have been asking questions at these board meetings, and the university kind of mumbles some kind of response, and then there's never any follow-up. Well, Joel is a bulldog, and he would have done the follow-up, and he wouldn't let them off the hook. But unfortunately, from our information, there was a movement to make sure that he was not appointed. He was very high on the list of appointees, of prospects, but there was a movement to get him canceled. And, I really can't give any details because we don't know anything with any authority on that, but we're going to dig into it for sure.
Well, maybe somebody will step up and surprise us, and they'll turn things around for some of these schools and get, the pricing under control. I would think that would be a universally welcomed situation instead of the cost continuing to soar and pricing people out of higher education. Force these institutions to run like businesses who don't have endless funding sources from the government itself. I think that's a good place to start. Jim Bacon, baconsrebellion.com. I always appreciate the chance to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, John.